Alright guys, so you're in the lab, hopefully, or you're at home or somewhere, and we're going to cover the first part of speech that we're going to cover this year, and it's nouns. The easiest one of the eight, but still, it's good to have a little bit of a refresher every now and then. So, this presentation will be about nouns. As you probably know by now, nouns are the names of people, places, things, or ideas. And nouns can be split up many different ways. We can categorize nouns in many different ways, so we're going to talk about some of those. The first way is probably the easiest. It's to consider them concrete or abstract. A concrete noun is something that can be seen, it can be felt, it can be experienced by the five senses. So a dog you can see, wind you can feel, a cow sometimes you can smell it, sometimes you can taste it, sometimes you can touch it. Those would be concrete nouns. Abstract nouns are things that we can't exactly experience, but we know are there. They're ideas or concepts or qualities like freedom. We can't exactly see freedom, but we know what freedom is. Same with love and bravery. So, concrete, abstract, first way we can categorize nouns. The second way we'll categorize nouns is to consider them either common nouns or proper nouns. A proper noun is the name of a specific person or a specific place or even a specific thing it could be. These always get capital letters. Proper nouns always get capital letters like the Detroit Tigers. Tigers is always going to have a capital letter, so would Detroit. The name of a person, your name is capitalized. You are a specific person. So the name Sally or any other name would be capitalized. The city Clio, Carter Middle School is a specific school. That would be capitalized. Common nouns do not need capital letters unless they come at the beginning of a sentence because they're just general things or people or places. So a team, a boy, girl, school, those are nouns, but they're not specific, so they're just common nouns. The other way, it gets a little bit more tricky that we categorize or use nouns is whether they're singular or plural. Singular means one, so one person, one thing. Plural means more than one, so you can see shirt and box. By themselves, singular. Now to make a noun plural, you either add s, like shirts, or you add es, like boxes. The rules for making nouns are not hard and fast, so you kind of got to learn them. Sometimes you add s, sometimes you add es. The only way to learn them is to just do them and get used to them. So singular, plural. We also have some nouns that are irregular, which means they're not normal. They don't follow the same rules for changing to singular and plural. Like for instance, some nouns don't even change when they become plural. Deer, moose, sheep, fish. Whether you have one or 100, you still say deer. One deer, 100 deer. 10 moose, 20 moose. One moose, doesn't matter. Some nouns change completely when they become plural. They don't add s or es. Like one child becomes multiple children. Foot becomes feet, mouse becomes mice, tooth becomes teeth. You get the idea. Again, no real rules for them. You just got to learn them. Now this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, so pay attention. You might need to stop and rewind a couple times or refer back to this. Nouns are also possessive. They can be. We are people, we own things. We have things. We possess things. If a noun possesses something in a sentence, they own it, they have it, it's theirs. There are certain ways that we have to make sure the readers know that. The easiest is singular nouns. You pretty much just add apostrophe s to make a singular noun possessive. So one girl has a dress, it's the girl's dress. A chair has a cushion, it's the chair's cushion. And you can see I've highlighted the apostrophe s so you can see how that's added on. Plurals are a bit more tricky. If a plural noun already ends in s, then the apostrophe just goes after the s and you don't add anything to it. So like if I'm talking about the boys team, boys is already plural. So we just add that apostrophe. Mr. Hayden's classes. Classes is already plural. So if I said Mr. Hayden's classes homework, you just add the apostrophe. Now if you have a plural noun that doesn't end in s, like some of those irregulars, then you do add the apostrophe s. So like one man becomes 10 men. If those men own something, it's adding apostrophe s. One child becomes many children. Children you add apostrophe s. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. And the apostrophe in the right spot is very important because you can really confuse a reader if you don't do this, or you can be confused if a writer doesn't do this correctly. All right, a little bit more on possessives. Proper nouns we treat just like common nouns. If we're going to make a proper noun possessive, we just add either the apostrophe, like we're talking about the Joneses' house, it's already proper. Add that apostrophe S. If we're just talking about one person, Mike apostrophe S. Pretty easy, same rules. Something we don't see very often are hyphenated words, like brother-in-law, ex-husband, vice president, words like that. You just follow the rules for the last word when adding apostrophe and S to make those possessive. Not a big deal if you don't get all those right now for the hyphenated words, but you will encounter those more in the future. Nouns can also be collective. They name an entire group that's made up of individuals or singles. So, like, you have 10 members on a team. The team is a collective noun. If you see birds flying in a flock, the word flock would be a collective noun. When I'm trying to get your attention in class, I don't have to say all of your names. I can just say class, and that means all of you. So class would be a collective noun. These can be tricky when we're working on subject-verb agreement, which we're going to work on more in November. So we may refer back to this, but like if we're talking about one team, the team works on the project. Now if the team all has different projects, then the team becomes plural because they're working on different projects, so you say the team work on instead of the team works on. We'll work on that more when we talk about subject-verb agreement, but just know that it can get a little bit tricky with collective nouns. All right, on your piece of paper where you're taking notes, I want you to practice with these 5 sentences. Just pause the video in a second and pick out the nouns. So pause it. You don't even have to write the whole sentence down. Just write down the nouns from each sentence. When you're ready, hit play again, and we'll check the answers. All right, let's check, see how you did. So here we go. Boy, car, home, and number 1 are nouns. Team, that's one of those collective nouns we talk about. Game and overtime are nouns. Overtime is it's a thing, so it'd be a noun. Basketball, John, sport, pencils, and book. If you highlighted your or wrote down your is not a noun, it's a pronoun. We talk about those later in the year, so just realize that your or mine or our are not nouns. And in the last sentence, nouns and sentence would be the nouns. So hopefully you got them right. If not, try to figure out what you need to correct before you get into the homework packet. All right, next step, I want you to take these 8 nouns, they're all singular, and make them plural. A couple are irregular, a couple add S, a couple add ES. One of them you probably don't have to change at all. So write them all down in plural, pause the video before I show you the answers so you can check and see if you're doing this right. All right, if you're ready, here come the answers. Child becomes children. Sheep stays the same, it's still sheep. Man becomes men. Fish also stays the same. Ox becomes oxen. That's a tricky one. Tooth becomes teeth. Goose becomes geese. Hat becomes hats. So one more little practice and then you can get into your homework packet. All right, so you have 5 nouns and we're talking about what they possess, but they're not done correctly. So you need to add apostrophes and S's in the appropriate spots to make those nouns possessive. So last time, pause the video, make these nouns possessive, play it and see if you get them right. All right, if you're ready, here we go. Here are the nouns as possessive. John apostrophe S. Boys gets just an apostrophe at the end because boys is already plural. Children is irregular, so we add apostrophe S. Smiths, adding apostrophe S, and father-in-laws, because we follow the rules for that last letter. So at this point, you have this packet, it's 4 pages, it's going to practice some of these different things. You can go back in the video as much as you want to help you work through these. Remember, November 1st, we're going to have a quiz over nouns, so you're going to need to know them by then. You can't use any notes on that quiz. So take this time, do the practice, figure out what you're not doing so well on, so when it comes quiz time, you're good to go. All right, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.